Okay, so one of the main issues you're going to run into with taking glued carpet up with one of these machines is the blade gets dull. So you have to sharpen it, as much as you see that I've done here, maybe every couple hundred square feet. And then you're going to run into like cracks in the cement, or if you're doing wood, then not, but and then it's going to cut better if you don't try to cut right at the end. As you'll see, I'm going to cut like 3/4 of a blade over, because that cuts better if there's carpet of at least a few inches on either side, right? You'll see what I mean here. Okay, so what happened there is I was moving along just fine. Then I hit the crack, the joint of the two pieces of cement, and I totally knocked my blade really hard on the edge and it crashed. So immediately that dulls the blades. And the most important part of the blades are the corners where it cuts the carpet, which is why I do it this way, where I do one cut. Because then the second cut is easy. There's no need to worry about the edges cutting. I'm just sweeping up the in-between, and it does cut a lot better if you don't try to always cut the edges. Because then the carpet lifts up, it doesn't stay down. It doesn't cut the carpet, it ends up like lifting up. The problem I had over there was it stopped cutting the carpet for one of two reasons. The blade was dull, or I wasn't pushing it forward enough. So pushing the blade down, giving it the proper, pressure down. So just because it's a 600-pound machine doesn't mean you don't have to put a lot of pressure at the beginning especially, and then slow pressure if it's not at the very beginning. So like just hit this thing a little bit, like slightly, until you're for sure cutting. And then you can kind of go, but always be careful not to put too much pressure down when you're going over a crack. So just watch how much easier this is. It's like a guaranteed easy one here. Okay, so like one of the main reasons you want to get a machine like this for pulling up carpet that's glued down is not necessarily because it gets underneath the carpet and lifts it up, and yeah, that is nice, and it does scrape the glue off some areas better. The longer the carpet's been there, the more likely it is you're gonna have some residual. I don't really know too about that yet. This is the first time I'm renting it. I'm making this video because I couldn't find a video online explaining anything. So once it's been cut and it's like in strips, like that strip I just did, like you could pull it up by hand, no problem. Like getting it started with this and then just pulling it up by hand. But the main issue, the thing that this solves, is having to like cut lines on your hands and knees, and and then that really first part of getting that first inch is hard to get up, but after that first inch it's easy to get up. So really, if you had like two people here, one would probably just be cutting these lines, then like another person would probably just be like lifting up that second round. But because it's just me, I use the machine, and I'm just trying to be as lazy and as possible, because I've already worked so hard, my back hurts so much. This is the third day I'm doing this, or this is actually the fifth day I'm doing this, but I learned how the machine worked as of the third day, and then I really got going today. Like it was the other two rooms were like, it looked like a mess. Like I'm like keeping them all in like a circle now. There's just some things that I've learned over the last 4 days of dealing with this, trying to learn. Also, I'll show you some things that I wish I would have known. So I went like late night. I'm not late night, but I went at closing time to pick this machine up. Heads up, it's, you know, it's 600 pounds. You know, this comes off, this comes off, this comes off, and this comes off, and then it's only 400 pounds. So, I mean, I'm not going to go into what I had to do, but it does have these things where if you have a lifter to help lift it up and down, it does. Now, when they gave it to me, these pins, which are in the wheels now, were on top there. I had no idea what they were for. So the first day was me just getting a hold of the people after hours and troubleshooting with someone who kind of knew it, and then he had to call someone later that knew it. But he knew to have me put the pins in there, which were right here. But I was having trouble. I could only reverse, and I had it on turtle. You know, I had it on turtle because, you know, I wanted to go slow at first. But just so you know, there's only one speed on this thing. It's just on or off. So if you turn it all the way to turtle, it actually stops you from being able to go forward, and then only allows you to go back. And he had to call someone else to figure out why is it only working reverse? It's only working reverse. So that took a while. So you just have to turn it maybe like this much, and then you can go forward. But turning it more doesn't do anything. It's on or off. This thing moves up and down. I've always just kept it here. Yeah, and I also had to learn the hard way that you had to push it down. I thought, oh, it's 600 pounds, you know. 600 pounds. You're not gonna need to like put your back into it. Like, no, you still have to put your back into it. And then it comes with wheels that you can put in the front. You know, you can get a ramp, and I got a ramp to go in and out of the other spaces. I did 3 spaces here. Definitely get one of those. You can just buy those types of razors at, like, you know, your whatever, a hardware store. They're not everywhere, but they're at the big ones, you know. Yeah. So, yeah, just on or off right there. Oh, gosh. Oh, God. So this also, okay, so this thing stays, so these things move out, then move back in so you can have it in different locations. So at first I didn't realize it was supposed to happen. I kept turning them over and over again, thinking it'd get tight, but it doesn't. You just have to lift it out, put it in, lift it out, you know, find it where it is, put it in, and then kind of, you have to kind of like hold your arms, like you have to, like, while you're pressing, you have to like press in on both of them and forward, right? And a lot of times they'll come out and you'll slip and you'll just go like, oh, it happens with this one a little more, like where you just go like, ugh, like it's really annoying. So you just got, before you start pushing forward, you just gotta make sure they're in where you want them, and then kind of like pull down and in, and, you know, like forward. Because that first part, like right at the beginning, that's the important part. And like I said, you're gonna have to sharpen those. The bottom's probably fine. It's just those edges where it cuts the carpet is where it really needs to be sharp, really sharp. Because like I said, the whole reason is it cuts. And when you're getting used to this thing, it'll stop cutting, right? And then it'll go above the carpet, and then you'll have to come back and you'll have to recut the edges and hope that if you push down hard enough, it'll start cutting that edge again. And if I run into that problem, I'll show you what I'm talking about. It did happen on the first round, but okay, like that should be all you need to know. If I think of something else, I'll come back. Okay, so this is a sign that your blade needs to get sharpened. Your blade goes above the carpet and stops kind of cutting it, and then like jumps on top of it. Like that means the blade needs to get sharpened. Back it up a little bit. So sometimes the blade doesn't have to get sharpened, and you just weren't pushing down enough, like you weren't doing this enough. Like pushing down and forward, right? And then because you weren't giving enough pressure, the blade wasn't pushed down enough on the carpet, and then, you know, that's what happens there. So when your blade's like freshly sharp and you notice that your blade, just cut these little pieces right here and then start over and then really push down the second time. But I know I've done enough work with this thing at this point to where it needs to be sharpened. I've only sharpened it maybe twice so far. So I'd say every 100 square feet, you're gonna have to sharpen the blades. Okay, so I'm having a heck of a time with this little area right here. One other thing that kind of tends to happen is, here, watch this thing shake. Now that's pretty quiet, but I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten the bolt back here. Well, no, it's still tight. I don't know what's going on. Maybe, like I just sharpened the bottom part, like maybe I gotta attack it from both sides and really sharpen the thing, so. This is, well, no, it didn't happen again. I wonder what's going on. Like I said, like it's a learning process through and through. The heavy hitters, they do the ride along thing, the thing that, you know, you ride on top of. And maybe, like, you know, depending on the size of the job, that might be the way to go. But you also have to be able to drive it into wherever you're doing it, right? So this, I couldn't have driven something into here. So this would have had to have been this deal here. So, you know, renter beware. This thing is not foolproof. It is still difficult. But, you know, the carpet guys, they charge $5 a square foot, and I'm saving 10 grand over the course of a week, so better than sitting at home touching myself instead, you know. Okay, so one thing I'm starting to notice, this area, like I've been saying, is giving me difficulty. I can actually, yeah, like this is a doorway, the old doorway. I think this is just like a seriously high traffic area. So old carpet, high traffic area. You can kind of see how this is more worn out than, let's just say, like this, you know? And that was my problem. That's why it's harder. So it should get easier if I'm right. I cut this line right here with the razor, and it should get easier as it goes to this lower traffic area. This is why they charge $5 and up for carpet removal, because it's hard and it can get much harder. Okay, so I decided to start fresh and cut it clean there. So I've learned that resetting the carpet is better than not. And I sharpened the shit out of both sides this time. So it's definitely sharp now. See what happens. Yeah, so I pressed down hard. See how it kind of even changes the size there? It was getting really screwed up there. Pressed down hard, and yeah, I mean, you can just tell because there's more glue missing that sharp edge just made a huge difference there. But it is also a tough area of the carpet. Like, this is definitely a high traffic area right here from that door. Yeah. Okay, I wanted to post this tonight because, you know, I don't want to put all this effort into something and then never post it. So I thought I'd just do a quick end game here, but, you know, you can drop off. I don't think you're going to learn anything new here. I'm just going to give you like a general overview, some other ideas possibly. But if you're at the job already, you know, avoid this part. But if you're planning the job, you might want to have this machine dropped off and then picked up for the fee. Unless you have like a way of doing it yourself, which is not retarded like the way I did it. I don't even want to say the way I did it, but I made it happen. I am gonna be able to drop it off if I want, but I am also gonna call tomorrow. Just if it's like a couple $100 I'm gonna pick it up, I'm just gonna pick it up because that is ridiculous. Yeah. You know, good luck if you're gonna do this. Yeah. Yeah, put your back into it. Let's say make it happen.